the church was structured quite early on. Jesus set apart the 12 apostles minus one, and then there were 2 more added, as we know. And that was the first structure, the structure which had the apostolic gospel at its center. And Jesus was concerned to make sure that the church was built on the foundations of the apostolic gospel. And so that was a structuring thing. It was a foundational thing, but it was a structuring thing. And so right from the beginning, Acts chapter 2, the believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching. And that is something that serves the mission. Why? Because the apostles' teaching is the gospel. The gospel is what saves people, and it is also what transforms people. And so as people devote themselves to the apostles' teaching and the gospel, that equips them for and drives them to mission. And so the church that is devoting themselves to the gospel is of necessity a missional church that is holding out that gospel in its scope and in its breadth to the people who don't yet know the gospel. But then after that, as we see in Acts chapter 6, for example, the church learned how to structure itself internally in order to make that mission more effective and to make sure that the mission wasn't distracted by or destroyed by other factors. The issue at the beginning of Acts chapter 6, as we know, is that the Greek-speaking widows and the Jewish-speaking widows felt that there was an inequality, particularly towards the Greek-speaking widows, and this was likely to cause the church to disintegrate. And the apostles then said that they should not be distracted from the prayer and the word, but they should delegate the task of looking after the administrative and humanitarian aspects of the church's work to others. And so they select 7 proto-deacons. They're not yet deacons fully fledged, but they select these 7 men to administer at tables. And the result of that, straight after Luke comments, is that the word of God progressed, and even some priests became Christians. And so we see this early attempt to structure things in terms of apostles and not apostles doing important and essential ministry had an impact on the effectiveness of the church's mission. And so as the church moves through time and very quickly, it begins to structure itself into something that looks like elders and deacons. So Paul addresses his letter to the Philippians to the elders and deacons as well as to the congregation. And so church structure is elders properly instituted with a proper character and proper plurality. It's deacons, again, properly assessed and properly put into place as 1 Timothy 3, chapter 3 sets out. And those two are working with the church body as a whole to move the church forward in mission. And those structuring elements are there to safeguard the gospel and to propagate the gospel and to ensure that the community stays on mission in holiness. And so as the church structures itself, so therefore it thinks through what it should do in terms of its mission.